Okay, so welcome to the podcast. Today's guest is a natural bodybuilder. He's also a coder, and he's going to be walking us through exactly what it takes to set high achieving goals, work towards them, defeat all odds, and achieve and perform at the top level on the world stage. I'm excited to have him on as our first guest on the podcast. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Okay, big man. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. It's actually been this one's been right at the top of the priority list to get you in and hear some fucking funny stories and made it out you to everybody for being a hard piece of work. But yeah, this is a pleasure to have you on as our first guest to the podcast. So you jump into an Uber driver's car. Never met them before. They ask who you are, what do you do? How would you introduce yourself to anybody that doesn't currently know you?
Yeah, okay, so I'd probably say, I'm Cameron, obviously. I am a wannabe coder, programmer by trade, and I'm also an online coach. And sometimes I also like to get shredded, slap on a load of fake tan and stand on a stage, half naked in front of hundreds of people. Well, I did anyway. Now I'm just fat and washed, but yeah.
It sounds like a pretty good Saturday night to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, in terms of, so you like to slap on a bit of tan, get pretty diced, and stand on stage. So bodybuilding, it's a big passion of yours. So you've obviously accumulated quite a few accolades over the past year. For anybody that doesn't know, Cameron's a natural bodybuilder. So what that means is he does not take train. Not that I know of
Just
anyway.
Train, yeah.
So he won WNBF Ireland, he came first place. Then in a different federation, the NBFI, first place. You then qualified to go to the Worlds in Seattle, where I believe you came 6th in the world in the lightweight division.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you were the 6th place in the natural universe as well in Romania.
Fourth,
even better. So those would be those are the top accolades that you essentially accumulated last year.
Yeah.
And I was quite like proud of you as a friend to, and also admired a lot of the progress that you went through, because I was there on every fucking stage. There was -1. So I kind of seen what it took to kind of perform at that level, and the sacrifice that came with that.
yeah. You're brought along for the ride, whether you wanted to be or not.
Mate, it was hectic. It was fucking hectic. For anybody that doesn't know, competing is...
Where do I start?
Instagram glorifies it a lot.
Yeah.
It really, really does. Like, the side of competing that I see on Instagram, yes, you see, like, people saying that they're hungry and stuff, but, the lack of energy, the kind of social battery just being zapped for weeks and weeks and weeks. Like, what did you find, like, was the hardest part about the prepping?
Yeah, so you've just touched on it there. It's not the food or the diet or anything that comes along with that side of it. You just get on with it. You get used to the hunger. It's like anything. Whenever you first start a diet, the first week's always the toughest. After that, you adjust. And as well, with that goal, that show day, that date, it's pretty easy to just get on with things. Your coach or whoever, sets a plan, you follow it. The part you kind of can't sort of set to the side and forget about is the fatigue. It feels like at times there's sort of a dark cloud over the top of you. You'll have to push through a lot of hard days, and you don't really have anything as a natural to pull you out of that besides sleep. And even at that, you get your 7-8 hours sleep, you probably feel good the next morning for 1-2 hours, and then you're just back in a hole again. So with that obviously comes what you've just touched on as well, the social aspect and withdrawing a bit as a person from maybe speaking to your mates, or if you're in a relationship, which I'm not, thank Christ, because I don't think I would have lasted if I was last year. Well, might have done, but
Mate, you just about came out of it with mates.
Yeah, no, fucking hell.
You're hard work.
Yeah, it's tough going, like, it really is, and I do believe if you haven't done it for yourself, if you're not in that situation yourself, you won't truly appreciate what it's like. So it's kind of lonely. It is quite lonely and quite isolating. But yeah, no, you'll sort of, I think most people will go into their shell a bit and just kind of adopt a more reserved attitude towards, you know, social events, gatherings, all of that. And your life kind of just becomes a box ticking exercise. Each day is part of the process, and you want to get on to the next one and the next one, and you're probably just looking ahead to the show itself. Like, it seems crazy, but like, I think back and remember myself sitting in a car outside Tesco's going, I'm 50 days out today. And like, at that point, all I'm thinking about is, let's get those 50 days to go by as quick as possible.
So, you know, for anybody that doesn't know what 50 days out means, that's essentially you're 50 days away from your first show, or the day that you're on stage. Mm-hmm. So obviously, like, there's a lot of sacrifice that comes in what you've just described.
Yeah.
What does that feel like whenever you're going through that, and you know, essentially you're just waiting for each day to finish, to start the new day so that day can finish, and you're essentially wishing away the days until this end goal comes. What does that feel like in retrospect? So like, looking back now, do you still enjoy that process? Do you feel like, you know, there's somebody that's maybe looking to compete now that maybe doesn't know about how much sacrifice it's going to be?
Yeah.
What would your advice be to them? Because like, for me, seeing you do that, you know, I've always wanted to compete. In the back of my head I have. Mm-hmm. But like, for me, like, I love fitness. I'm a personal trainer. I love getting in shape, love the whole process of dieting. But the hole that you were in terms of, it wasn't a hole, but it was like a bubble.
Yeah.
It is.
It's literally a bubble.
It's like everything in existence goes on pause or on mute until you're finished. And for me, who doesn't compete, I can appreciate the hard work, and the outcome of it was unreal. Like, it was like, you looked fucking sick.
Yeah.
But from the other aspect, who maybe I don't understand, is like, there's so much sacrifice there. I don't know necessarily if I would want to sacrifice the same amount of things that you did. Obviously, the goal isn't as important to me. But what would your advice be to somebody who is maybe contemplating, but maybe hasn't taken on board or thought about the considerations of the sacrifice?
I think first and foremost is just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Make sure you actually want to compete and do the show, and it's not just something you're doing for clout. Because, you know, if you're just going up there to get stage photos and that's really all you want out of it, one, the stage shots actually aren't always the best. Like, those ones I sent across to you today are pretty much the standouts from 4 shows. Like, so there's that side of it. And then as well, if you have that mindset, you're not going to look your best anyway. You're probably not going to devote yourself to the process fully. Like you touched on there, everything really kind of gets put on pause. You know, you'll hear these guys saying, oh, you know, you can't just sack off everything in your life. You know, you need to still make effort from a social standpoint and stuff, and I totally agree with that. You know, I do, and I did make effort. Maybe if I was to do it again, there's a few things that would change in that aspect of it. Mm-hmm.
Like what?
Probably just realizing that although it's tough and you're dragging yourself at times, you do adapt to it. It sounds strange, but like, you get used eventually to the feeling of being drained, and you can kind of just get on with things. And, you know, I'll give you an example. Going to the cinema or something, which is like just a totally normal scenario, it would almost have stressed me out, like, the idea of doing it. Yeah,
I remember.
Because because like, straight away you're thinking, okay, I'm going to be surrounded by food I can't have, popcorn, whatever. And if your willpower's strong enough, that's not going to be a problem anyway. But it's also just having the energy to get up, do these things, and deviate from your strict routine, which you will find yourself if you're prepping properly in like a robot mode. It's literally like, I've planned my day out for this, and nothing comes between that.
This is bringing me back so many flashbacks, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Like, the cinema thing for one. So what were we
I want to see Oppenheimer.
So we were in Seattle. I can't remember how many days out you were, maybe two at this stage. And it was actually your birthday, and obviously you can't go out for food. So it was my suggestion, maybe we would go to the cinema. Pretty easy going. No, Cameron was in bed by probably 6.
7 or 8.
Was it? I thought it was 6.
No, I actually think you might be right.
It was pretty hard.
I was absolutely pooped that day, to be fair.
That was your birthday.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a shitload of sacrifice there. And it's mental. Like, again, it's for somebody that doesn't do it, I can't wrap my head around that. And obviously it has a knock-on effect to the people around you, your mum, your dad, your sister, your friends. So like, how much of an impact did you feel like you competing made on the people around you? Maybe, again, people aren't aware of or maybe don't take into consideration.
Massive, to be honest. I think I did a very good job of explaining to everyone what it was going to involve, but especially if you're around people who maybe aren't as familiar with what the process involves, you know, they aren't as familiar with the fact that you're on a strict limit of food. That's it. You know, you can't have one slice of pizza, you know, these sorts of things as well. Maybe they're not familiar with the whole concept of, you know, you're going to go from potentially where I am now, which is a pretty healthy weight, to being quite gaunt and just looking a bit smaller, which I know my mum was very concerned about, even though she knew I was doing it for the right reasons. But yeah, I found that tough. My family definitely found it tough. You know, my mum was in tears a few times, just like not because I gave her a reason to be, just because she could sort of tell there was a change in my personality, and
she was worried about you.
I think she always knew what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was more so just that she could tell there was definitely a shift in my personality. Like you're talking about in America there, like I used to just take myself off the bed at like 7 or 8 in the evening. No good night, see you in the morning. Just door closed, into bed. Rinse and repeat.
How did you feel whenever you seen your mum, for example, upset?
Yeah, it was hard. It's tough because it doesn't take much. Sorry, it takes a lot for me to get visibly upset at things, but one thing I can't handle is my mum getting upset. That was hard. I just had to sort of explain to her that this was what was necessary, and again, being in the prep, being in the trenches, bro, as they say.
You were fucking, you weren't in the trenches, you were out in no man's land.
Fuck, I was in no man's
shooting
land.
at the Germans.
Yeah. No, you just have that tunnel vision, and I definitely had that outlook of whatever it takes. Like, you know, yeah, it was tough, you know, definitely draggy, but I would still get on with things. I never once sort of thought, right, fuck this, like I'm gonna, you know, not tick my boxes today. I would have been out doing steps at 11:59 if I had to, you know, tick off my 10,000 or 12,000 for the day. I suppose just kind of going back to the previous question too, the biggest thing for me in any prep is being present, and that's something that I will take forward now to, you know, my next prep and beyond. Doing it for the first time, you might think you're being present. Realistically, I was just counting down the days, and then, you know, seeing the impact that it had on people, and maybe me going through this all for the first time too, also made me at times, you know, just not wish away days, but you know what I mean.
So, like, I see a lot of people doing that, and it is essentially just tick box, wasting away the days. You're talking there about being present, and you would actively try to bring that in again.
Yeah.
If you were to compete again, which, you know, I think you're thinking about it. So
yeah, 100%.
Like, what tools or what kind of way would you go about staying present? Or, you know, someone competing right now today, you know, they're going through the ringer, they're notably, you know, withdrawn from everybody around them. How would you say to them, you know, this is maybe my advice that I've went through this is what I would maybe do to stay more present with people, and not to ostracize yourself?
I suppose if I was to do it again, I would definitely try to incorporate some sort of social event per week. Every time some sort of hardcore mindset bodybuilder says social event, I think we all gravitate to going out for food or drinks. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about going to cinema. I'm talking about, you know, whatever the fuck it is. Just going out with your mates, chilling out, even like going around to your mate's house and playing Xbox for a bit, you know. At least do something like that once a week. I think we were talking about this the other day, didn't you say that, like, there's a statistic out there that's like men need a night with the boys twice a week or something like that? And
yeah, so I think a large portion that they're starting to find out now, so the studies are like suggestion. I don't think that this has been proven, but they are suggesting that a lot of male mental health problems are coming from the expectation that we put on ourselves in terms of high achieving goals, which is quite isolating. This is a really, really key example. And then on top of that is the kind of withdrawal, especially nowadays with social media and stuff, the withdrawal from essentially just guy time. And you know, this doesn't apply just to men. This works two ways for women as well. But the studies that they have kind of been going through recently have indicated that for maximum kind of mental health benefits, 2 nights with the boys per week is essentially the antidote to that. Something that has actually been proven, which is mental, is that the number one determining factor to the longevity of your life is not smoking, it's not drinking, it's not a healthy diet, it's not the gym. It is how much social interaction that you have.
I think I heard this.
And it extends your life by quite a lot.
Yeah.
So it's mad. So people that are isolating themselves, you know, guys that maybe spend a lot of time to themselves, you know, the best thing you could do for your health is actually just get out and talk to people, talk to friends, make friends if you don't have any, find people with common interests. That's why, like, for me, and this would actually be like a great way to come into this, is for me, you know, I initially started the gym because I was isolated, didn't have that many friends, but I wanted to work on myself. I wanted to get, you know, a little bit more confidence. I wasn't the biggest guy. I was quite small, skinny, fat, all the rest of it, not the tallest either. And I found a kind of oasis in the gym. But off the back of that, mate, I found so many new fucking connections, good mates, like over the years, some really, really good mates. You're one of them. You know, Jordan. And like off the back of that, I notice a massive uptake in how I feel every single time we spend a bit of time together. Mate, it could be an hour. It could be like an hour talking complete crap. And I just don't
there's
like...
some amount of gag spoken.
There is a lot of... It's hectic. But hectic, yeah. But, you know, off the back of that, you leave, you know, and it literally could be like an hour. It could just be training, but like it reinvigorates you. You feel like completely set up to go for another like week of, aside from social occasions, like you're set up for work, you're set up, just you're re-motivated. And I think there's a lot to be said for just spending time with the boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
That doesn't mean, because like, you know me, and you're the same, like it doesn't mean going out partying. I'm not a big partier. I'm not a big drinker. But yeah, definitely, you know, some time with the boys. And I think for anybody that is maybe feeling a bit, you know, lacking in purpose, and they're maybe not going to the gym, they maybe don't have a good circle around them, those would be the first two places that I would start, because they're easy entry points. You know, you don't need to be looking at making 100 grand or 50 grand or, you know, all these big business and like monetary accolades that a lot of guys look for. Sometimes it's just starting at surface level.
Yeah,
look after yourself, get a bit of, you know, confidence in your body, and just make some mates. Like it can really, really push you forward. I don't know what your experience of that is. Like, why did you initially get into the gym?
Pretty much for the same reason that you've just mentioned.
That and girls?
Yeah, that and girls. Yeah. No, mate, absolutely. Like 100% it was down to probably just trying to elevate my own levels of confidence, but as well, you know, thinking that there would be female attention that comes with it. We both know it's actually more male attention.
Yeah, it's all male attention that comes with the gym.
Yeah, absolutely. The arms are looking big today, bro.
Oh, thanks very much. I've actually been working on them, so.
Oh, yeah. Shame you can't say the same about the calves, but
my calves, I've been actually training those quite well. I think, you know, you can sort of see them coming through my jeans here.
Coming up.
Another couple of years and they'll be somewhere we need to be.
But yeah, mate, it would be sort of similar to yourself. For me, I was It's hard. It's hard looking back. I would call myself overweight, but
When? Now?
no. Like, we're talking, would it be
back-
10 years ago?
Yeah, you were a fat kid, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
So was I, but like,
I was like, I still am like a wee fat kid at heart. Like,
yeah,
but
you can't lose it. Like, I think
no.
if you're a foodie, if you're like fat boy,
Yeah. Like, if you
mate,
like your food, that's it. Do you know
that's
what I
it.
mean?
Like, that is it. I was, just before you came in, I was eating an Easter egg.
Mate, do you know what? I nailed
Unreal.
the full one.
A full one? When?
3 weeks ago on a Friday night.
But
It was
I
the
think
Friday before Easter.
that's standard. Like, I think if someone gives you an Easter egg, it's almost rude not to eat it in one
Not to
go.
eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think this is a thing though. I think being into fitness kind of fucks you a wee bit with like bad food, because we were talking about this the other day, and like, bro, if I go into Tesco's and I pick up a bag of 4 cookies,
They're all gone.
they're all nailed.
But in fairness, the defense is, and this is how I justify it in my head, I'm sure a lot of people are the same, you just need it out of the house. Like, once you've bought it, like, you can't leave 3 there, because then the rest of the week's fucked.
Yeah.
So you're like, right, today, get in, get out, right? Eat them all. Tomorrow's a new day. Nothing to worry about.
Well, take the hit that I ate.
yeah.
You know.
You justify it in your head.
Yeah. No, honestly, there's been times where I've been like that, where I've like, right, I buy a 4-pack of cookies or whatever, and I genuinely consider I'll have one and just bin the rest, because I'm like,
I've done that.
have you? Aye.
Regretted it instantly. I'm like, why did I not just eat those?
Waste of food.
Waste of food, yeah.
I think the kids in Africa.
Africa.
But yeah, I mean, I was actually going to say there as well. I think it's funny, not to go off on a tangent, but I find you're either a foodie and you like food, or you're a big drinker and you like the drink. My dad's a big drinker, not really a
Your
foodie.
dad loves the drink. A wee nightcap.
He loves a
He
wee
loves
nightcap
a wee nightcap.
every
Wee
night.
whiskey.
Every night, that fucking ice in the freezer, I hear
I love your dad.
Jack Daniels.
He's
straight up.
so funny. He's actually so funny.
He's a good lad. He is a good lad, to be fair. Dick. No, I'm joking. But I think you're either a foodie or a drinker, and tried the whole drinking thing. You know, went to uni, done all that. Don't get me wrong, I like a good night out, but we're talking 2 or 3 times a year here. It's not. I'd much rather use my weekly, you know, social event or off plan for a nice meal rather than drinking.
Yeah, so would I. I think, like, something that really resonated with me that I heard it was probably about a year ago, was, you know, like, what are you celebrating? Like, because essentially, like, popping bottles, having drinks, you know, you're
Yeah.
I'm just like, what are you celebrating? I understand, like, a lot of people do need like a reset, or do need an escape. A lot of it is escapism. But I think if you've got good goals and you're actually actively working towards them, I don't really think you need
don't need
an
the
escape.
escape.
If you create the life you want, you know, and you actively like, okay, I want to have X, Y, and Z, work towards that. Once you start having a taste of that, you don't feel the need to escape, because you're already like, this is brilliant, which is like a big reason why I don't drink. Because
We're opening a massive can of worms here. Like,
why is that?
yeah, I've just never, you know, that whole mindset of Monday to Friday. I'm just working, but I hate it, and I'm gonna go out at the weekend and just piss the money I've earned up against the wall to escape it. I always thought, and I know you're probably the same, but I always thought, I don't want to be in that situation. I want to be fortunate enough to get myself to a place where whatever I am doing to generate income for myself is either a passion or something that I greatly enjoy. And if that's not the case, well, then you best believe that in all of the spare time I have, I'm going to be busting my balls to get there.
Yeah, 100%. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not against alcohol. I actually do think there is a time and a place for it. I think it's good, you know, to a certain degree. A wee bit of a, but, you know, it is a matter of, you know, essentially picking your battles.
Yeah.
Do you need to do it every weekend? Well, you could. What's going to be the net positive out of that? Probably a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I've found over the years, because I'm like you, I went through and I did the whole drinking thing. Even from when I was like 16, man, I was heavy drinking, you know, on the weekends and stuff. Just because it was fun, it was the new thing. You felt like an adult, and then going into uni, same idea, 3-4 times a week. And as I've got older and I've kind of pulled back from it more, I've found that, you know, having 3, 4, 5, even 6 months of sobriety where you're just, and this isn't even me actively trying to be like, no, I can't touch alcohol. I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
But I get so much more shit done. Like much more shit done. And then off the back of that, cool, right? You know, have a couple of drinks. I rarely get drunk, but like I don't mind like the odd time if I get a bit tipsy or drunk. I did it for my birthday. I was celebrating my 30th. Wasn't a good look. Not that anybody's seen it, but I was heavily throwing up chocolate cake.
I heard you fell into that hot tub.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Oh yeah, I did, yeah. But aside from the hot tub incident, you know, I really do try to kind of stagnate it apart as much as I can, so that I have kind of like seasons of work and then a bit of relaxation, a bit of pullback, a reset, holiday, drinks, whatever. You know, I like a cocktail. I like a wee espresso martini, a wee porn star martini. I also like a Guinness.
But this is the key thing. You like one.
Yeah, like
with a meal.
Give me a tray of 6, I'll drink 2.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm that guy that, you know, it's like if you're out with your mates and it's rounds, because it's always rounds. I'm the one that's like, fuck's sake, Cam, would you hurry up? I have about 3 pints beside me, and it's like, lads, you may just far away. Here, take your card, and you know, it's my round, but here. You're
the one that gets it last, by God.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh, here, I'll get the last one. And then just before it's your turn, I'm way home here.
Mm-hmm.
That's you.
Yeah. No, it's funny, like the way you're saying, you know, it's kind of just, it is normalized, you know. You think it's part of growing up, having a drink. Oh, like I'm 18 now, I can have a drink. I think everybody learns at their own pace, whether it's for them or not. Again, and definitely not against, you know, people that love pints, because who doesn't like a pint? But yeah, I don't know, just that whole lifestyle and going out, I feel like I've had my fill. I'd honestly rather be more productive. I think that's what actually makes my soul happy, as opposed to lying in bed and dying, because mate, my hangovers are hectic as well. Like,
it's because you're getting old, mate. Like, there's grey hairs now starting to show there, you know.
26, I'm over.
You're over the hill.
Fucking hill now, yeah.
But
yeah, saying that, I'm probably the biggest disappointment ever to my dad.
Because you don't like a wee nightcap.
Go get a pint. I'll get a coffee.
Good lad. Goes to football. I'll have a wee water, please. Thank you, Dad.
Dad Coke.
Good lad. What a son. But in fairness, like, I do think, you know, alcohol, to a large degree, in my opinion, is just a form of escapism. The people that I see that drink the most typically are unhappy with a bigger portion of their life. They might have a lot of happiness in their life, but they usually are quite unhappy, whether it is their job or maybe they're unhappy about how they look at themselves or whatever. You start dialing all these things in. And a lot of people don't actually, because it is a scary jump. You know, if you don't like your job, go change jobs. That's a big fucking jump.
Yeah.
But if you're stuck doing the same thing and you're consistently feeling the same, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always had. If you're doing something right now that makes you feel like shit and you're not changing it, you're gonna continue feeling like shit. And that's the bottom line. So drinking, to me, as nice as it is to a point, consistently doing that every weekend, it makes you feel like shit. It throws off the next 3 or 4 days after that. You feel like shit. And then if you have any goals you're working towards, you know, you're then not working towards those for those couple of days.
Yeah.
That then makes you feel like more shit. And then it's this cycle where you're like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to drink again this weekend to kind of almost forget all your problems. And it's a cycle. Just continues and continues and continues.
Yeah, I think it's I think largely down to as well what type of person you want to be. Odds are people listening to this podcast are probably quite in tune with the likes of yourself and me. Probably view yourself as not necessarily a high achiever right now, but you certainly probably would like to get there, and would like to reap the benefits of that. And yeah, I think everybody sort of realizes at some point whether they want to pursue that or whether they're kind of happy with, and again, I don't want to offend anyone here, but just sort of mediocrity is the way I always viewed it. You know, I think we were talking about this the other day. I, at one point, thought that I was just going to go down the road of working a 9 to 5 and outside that, just spending my time playing God. Legit. And then I'll probably have kids someday. I'll probably get married at the end. And as I've sort of gone through my 20s so far and done a few different things, it's kind of like, well, actually, no, mate. I'd rather do a bit more and, you know...
Basically get the most potential out of yourself.
Yeah, try and think outside the box and don't just fit the mold, you know, and follow this sort of cookie cutter lifestyle. Because there's people, you know, there's people that do that, and fair play to them. And I did see myself in that position at one point, but...
Do you feel like you've got something to prove?
Not to anyone, to myself. More than anyone, to be honest. It's not like I'm looking, you know, around on social media or anything and thinking, oh, you know, person X sees me and thinks, you know, he must be doing well for himself, you know. That doesn't really come into it for me. It's more, I know what I'm capable of.
And why do you feel like you have to prove this to yourself? That you can, you know, touching on, you want to do... You want to achieve quite highly with your career.
Yeah.
You want to achieve, obviously, very, very highly with bodybuilding.
Yeah.
That's a huge, huge pressure to put on yourself. It's a huge pressure for anybody to put themselves. And then on top of that, the sacrifice that comes with it that we spoke about. So, you know, what is the point that you feel like you need to prove to yourself that makes you, that really drives you on to do that?
I think, to be honest, I think I've always thought that I was capable of reaching heights. It's hard to explain, but I always saw myself reaching specific levels in what I was doing. Career-wise, through school, I was always someone that I'd done pretty well in exams. And that's probably partly down to how I was brought up, you know. The PlayStation went out the window when it was exam time, mate, and that was it. But that's carried through in the other aspects as well, bodybuilding. You know, I've had a pretty successful first season there, and yeah, like I don't mind saying it, it would be pretty cool to earn a pro card at some point, you know, and I'm under no illusions that's probably going to take me 10 years as a natural, but you know, that's the goal I've set for myself. Would I say that I feel pressure to achieve that? Not necessarily. I just know that if I don't give it my all and I don't put absolutely everything I have into achieving those goals, I'll just look back and wish that I did. Everything that I think most things that I do, mate, to be honest, I always bring back to the fact that we only get one crack at this.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
And time's not stopping for anyone.
Yeah, I think it's I think this will resonate with you. It's essentially what you're saying, but I think it's a chronic shame to get to your deathbed and not have fulfilled, or at least attempted to fulfill your full potential. Whether that's in your physique, to see what you're capable of in terms of that, in terms of your relationships, in terms of your career, in terms of just every aspect that matters to you. I think, you know, it is a chronic shame to just kind of coast and limbo through life and not really be exceptional, or not even be exceptional, but not even that you feel exceptional in any given part of your life. It's just kind of, like you said, mediocrity. And I don't think that there isn't necessarily an issue or anything wrong at all with mediocrity in some aspects of your life, because you're going to get that. You know, it's the whole saying, what is it? Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
So that is going to be the case with some things. But, you know, for me, I strive to be better in so many different areas of my life. From the second I wake up to the second I go to bed, I'm like, okay, right, what can I do today that was some form of improvement than yesterday? It doesn't need to be major. You know, it's the 1% rule. You're actually reading the Atomic Habits at the minute.
Yeah.
So you were talking about that earlier. So Atomic Habits, you know, he speaks about this 1% rule where, you know, it compounds over time.
Compounding interest.
1%, 1%, 1%, 1% over time. You know, over a 1 year period, maybe you're 10% better. That's your new kind of standard up here. You do that for another year, 10% of that, 110 now that you're on, is it, you know, and it just compounds. So I think that until you've tried to do that or you've experienced the taste of that, and you can see how much purpose that gives you, how much fulfillment that gives you, you're missing a big trick in life. Just kind of coasting.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, funny, I had one of those moments this morning whenever I was doing check-ins, actually, that I kind of thought, you know, guy brand new in, first week, and literally his check-in was buzzing with it, like unbelievable. Just made me sort of smile, and I was like, right, like this is the type of person that I want to work with. And as well, you know, obviously feedback from him was really good. But yeah, mate, I think to be honest, once you realize or achieve something, and you get that feeling, you know, you get a bit of a taste as to what it is that you really want to do, or
it's unreal.
A bit of success. Yeah, it's unreal, and you want to do it again and again and again. And I suppose it's kind of the same for me, looking back last year at you know, winning a couple shows, getting to the Worlds in Seattle. The WNBF Worlds that I got to is literally the natural version of the Olympia. Like, I would be happy to get back there 2 or 3 times in my career as a bodybuilder. So to have had the year that I had last year, unbelievable. Like, it obviously makes me think, right, like, I've had a taste for that now. You know, I want to fucking do everything I can to get back there. But yeah, I think it's just down to whether you feel like you're sort of fulfilling your purpose and pursuing something that is actually going to make you happy, rather than just, you know, chasing the sort of temporary highs, I guess,
like
and
drinking.
escapism, yeah, to sort of get away from life at times.
So, okay, well, you know, a lot of guys potentially listening here are maybe in a position right now where they're like, I'm not fulfilling my potential. They've got that feeling, like the feeling you described. I had it like my whole life, where I was kind of like, I am destined for up here. Whether, like, I don't believe in destiny, but what I mean by that is I know I'm capable of attaining very good things if I apply myself. And I don't know if that was due to my childhood. Don't know if it was due to my mum being very supportive when I was younger and telling me that I was, you know, capable of a lot of things. But that definitely ingrained in me. And you know, my belief, I don't have limiting beliefs in terms of what is attainable. I think if I realistically wanted to become a multi-millionaire, it's going to take a lot of time. I am certainly not going to get it right straight away. But if that was, you know, utter conviction, you know, number one priority goal, I would do every single thing that it took to attain that. Yeah. And I would not fail. It might take me 40 years to do it, but I would physically, like, you know, lightning strike me, you know, I would attain it before that happened. So I think if you were maybe stood in front of somebody that is in that position where they, you know, they feel like they've a lot more to give, they're just not there yet, and maybe they're actually afraid, because this was actually me for a long time. There was a part of me that was afraid of failing, even though I wanted these big, you know, goals, these big accolades, these big fucking achievements in life. There was a part of me that maybe held back a wee bit in case I failed.
Okay. Yeah.
What would you say to people? What would your advice be to, you know, guys that are like, I want to maybe try this, but I just don't know if I can, or I just don't know if I'm the person that can do that? What would your advice be to them?
Well, first off, it's obviously going to be, if your goals in life don't scare you, then they're probably not big enough. And for me, every time I've had a goal that scared me, what are you scared of? Failing when it comes to that goal. For me, I think whenever I think back to, I was going to say all, but most things or achievements I'm proud of in life, every single one of them I've sort of committed to and went, oh shit, here we go. What have you got yourself in for now here, kid? And then I've either achieved it or I've maybe fallen short. But when I've fallen short, I've probably done so and been content because I know that I've left no stone unturned and pursued it with everything I have. So in the end, that potential failure, it doesn't feel like a failure. You've probably learned a few things from it as well, along the way, and you've probably grown as a person. So for me, I think biggest piece of advice would be just take the leap. If you're not pursuing your passion and you're not going for something that you think you have the potential to achieve, well, again, it comes back to what you just said earlier on. Do you want to be on your deathbed in, fingers crossed, 60, 70 years time?
Don't know, man. I got the 2 COVID vaccines. Could be soon.
I have 3 here.
Do you?
Yeah, so that's me.
Could be sooner for you.
I'll be croaked in a couple of years
Oh,
now.
that's it, yeah.
For fuck's sake. Yeah, mate. Do you want to be in that position and be looking back and thinking, for God's sake, I wish I'd had a crack at that, or I wish I'd really given it my all? I sort of find myself, and don't get me wrong, listening to this, you would probably think like I get up and I'm some robot, every ounce of my day is optimized. I don't think it has to be that way, but I certainly live the majority of my life pretty similar to yourself. I have my goals, I have my focuses for the day. If I don't tick those boxes, if I'm not working towards those things, I just don't feel quite right.
I'm the exact same.
Yeah, like I think that goes hand in hand with bodybuilding as a sport too, because you have your boxes. If they're not ticked, well then, to be honest, you're not progressing, and if you're not progressing, it's not conducive to your goals. So essentially, you've just wasted a day. Do you know what I mean, or something like that. But yeah, look, I think if you're finding yourself in that position where you're scared, a lot of the time, like I know for me, being scared about taking a leap, maybe if it is career driven, it's always going to come back to money. It's always going to be, maybe you're going from a job you're not necessarily happy in, but you've got a stable, secure income, you've got bills, you've got kids, maybe, whatever. It can be the scariest thing in the world, and you would know about this.
Yeah, 100%. Like, with regards to jobs, it is the scariest jump that you can make, really, because your whole life's security is dependent on that income, food, shelter, just normal amenities. There is a lot of time in the day. Sleep less, work more. If you want to get out of the situation that you're in right now, sleep less, work more. Do what you need to do. Look after your health. Fair enough if you want to go to the gym. Do your normal day job, and then build in the evening. There is no excuse. I did it. I know, it's something that's important to you as well. And I just think if you're currently not happy with your situation, but you don't want to take that leap, which is completely justified, you need to be using your free time to the maximum.
Absolutely.
To be building something that you can essentially be like, shit, this is actually generating me more money now than my actual job. Okay, well then cool, I can leave. And then there's not that kind of worry. I don't think that you should ever leave something in terms of a job without having something else as a fallback. If you get your business to, a point where it can at least match the income that you're currently making, that fear quickly comes down. It's never going to go away.
No.
You could be making double what you earn in your side hustle, your side business, your passion, and you could still feel that fear because that safety, that security net of your guaranteed income,
it's not there.
And entrepreneurship is scary, but the net reward of doing something for yourself, being passionate about something, like that excitement to get up in the morning for what you want to do, and it doesn't even feel like work.
Doesn't feel like work.
So like it's unrivaled. It's unbelievable. And like even thinking about now, like it makes me smile. I love my job. I don't feel like it's work, but I've had so many of those circumstances where there's been that scary jump. Like it could be a whole podcast in itself if I talk to you about all the jobs I've had.
No, yeah.
Hectic.
Yeah. That's what I was referring to.
Hectic. But it's like taking the jump is scary. I think if you have high standards for yourself and you realistically want to utilize them to as much as you can, don't worry about the end goal. I think most people are just impatient and want, you know, the Lambo, or they want the good physique, or they want the nice house, or they want the best looking girlfriend, you know, right now.
Yeah.
But maybe they don't have any of the qualities it takes to work hard or work consistently for a prolonged period of time to get that income. They don't have the work ethic in terms of, you know, going to the gym, looking after their diet. They don't have the interpersonal skills or the relationship skills to sustain or attract a high value woman. So it's like, right, don't worry about all that stuff. Don't worry about what you're going to get in the end of this. Work on all the stuff at the bottom on the foundation. Learn how to talk. Yeah, learn how to talk to people. Learn how to actually become a charismatic, likable person. You know, improving yourself. Learn more things about more stuff, so you actually are more of an interesting person, and you can also apply that then to the likes of your business, which is then going to benefit of it, grow, and then you're suddenly going to have all these things that you care about come to you just because you're worrying about yourself. All these things will come to you, and then all of a sudden that purpose that you want in your life just comes naturally, and you'll find that you'll start to wake up every single morning very, very satisfied. You know, you'll start getting more money coming in, and then you can actually look at making those big scary jumps that you're realistically putting off right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with that enough. To be honest, like nailing those underlying processes and stripping things back, forgetting about the end goal, and maybe, you know, it's the same even from a physique standpoint. You know, you get the clients that come to you and they want the abs, but they've never, you know, they've never bulked up or been in a gaining phase in their life. So even if they do strip down, they're probably not going to have much muscle there in the midsection. Do you know what I mean?
No.
I think, you know, taking it back, focusing on nailing your processes, ticking your boxes, that's going to be far more motivating as well for you. Because if you can just put what you want ultimately to one side and just almost break things down into smaller goals, short term, you know, each day, each week, it'll probably keep you on track longer as well, to be honest. If you go into life thinking, right, the goal today is to get a Lambo, well, you're probably not going to get it overnight.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's going to be very, very overwhelming.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, you'll probably be defeated before you even set off.
Yeah.
Unless you, I don't know, stick 50p into Pepe or some crypto coin and it just
takes
goes
off
to the moon overnight. Dad, I'm spending that 250 grand I just made on a Lambo.
And a nightcap. Speaking of Lambos, we had some fun on some Lambos in Dubai, didn't we?
Yeah.
So,
best experience.
You're a big car guy?
Yes.
So am I. What was your experience like of renting McLarens and Lambos and all the rest of it? What's your favourite car you actually drove? And we'll start with that.
That I've driven.
I think I already know.
This is tough, to be honest with you. It's probably, I don't know if it's
The Civic?
Yeah, Civic Type R.
On the Civic.
The Mercedes C300.
Yeah, that's a nice car to be fair.
No, it would probably be the green Lambo Huracan.
The Huracan?
Yeah.
The Evo? That was the Evo, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Evo Spider that we got. The STO that I got more recently was class, but it's just not the same as having a drop top in Dubai. I've been lucky enough to drive quite a few nice cars over the last year or so. The M4 I had as well in Dubai was unreal.
I really, really like those M4s. They've actually grew on me quite a lot. Whenever they first came out, the bonnet of them and the grille just...
I always loved it.
It was like this big snout of like a fucking an anteater snout or something. But mate, they're a nice car.
I think they're gorgeous.
And the colours that they come out in are stunning. So Lambo,
yeah,
Huracan Evo, yeah. Me,
see if you say that shit heap.
Yeah, no, the McLaren was shit. No, definitely same. The Huracan Evo was just another level. Having that amount of power, just
class.
On. There's no feeling like that. I think even I was actually speaking to Louise about this the other night, and there is no feeling, even the sound of it, because we were watching the Ferrari movie, and every single time these old and fucking beat out 1950s Ferraris were on, and mate, they sound way better than my car now, and I was like, oh my god, like, it just never gets old.
No.
It puts a smile on your face every single day. I think, you know, a dream of mine is if I ever had a son and I was well off from no age, I will be in the car with him on the motorway and just let it rip. So he gets that feeling,
The thrill.
just ingrain it into him that you want to get one of these cars at some point in your life because they're unbelievable.
It's that V10 and the Lambo Huracan. That's the whole I swear to God, it's not even like about the car to me. It's more the sound. I'll never forget it, mate. I don't think I told you this. Where our apartment was in Dubai when I went back there was just across the river from, it's on the side with JBR.
Yeah.
You know where I'm talking about, where there's that roundabout, you walk down the middle and it takes you down towards JBR. It was literally there, and the green STO I was getting was coming, and I literally looked down the address hotel on that bridge, and I was standing with my mum, and I was like, there it is. And you just heard like that.
That's unreal.
The listeners are gonna get the engine sound there, but yeah, unbelievable. Like, I actually said that to a few people that have been. Rent a supercar. It'll change your life.
It really does change your life. I seen a couple of people talk about this, about flying first class, and once you taste it, you'll never want to go back type thing.
Sure, we nearly did that.
We nearly did do that, but I'm, to be honest, glad we didn't. But there's still time for that yet. I feel like it's the same idea. The first time that you have a taste of that type of luxury,
Yeah.
someone like you walk out and there's a Lamborghini sitting there, and you know that is your Lamborghini. There is something about that feeling where you feel fucking invincible. You feel like you could get hit by a train and come out better for it. Like the level of drive that gives me to be like, I want this to be an everyday thing, not just
A holiday.
not just a holiday, not just a for now thing. I mean, like it's unparalleled. I actually think, if you could afford it and you weren't at the stage where you could maybe buy one, just going out and renting one of those every like 3 to 4 months and then flying home again, just to like re-spark you. Something I actually used to do, I don't actually know if you know this about me, but something I used to do was back up, a couple of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, when things weren't going as well, I used to walk around Audi and Porsche,
Aye, yeah.
the dealerships,
Yeah.
and I would walk around the cars and pretend like I was shopping to buy one. I didn't actually realize at the time, but it was like a form of visualization. So I was putting myself in the mindset that like I can afford these cars. I can essentially warrant being here.
Yeah.
I fit in with this demographic customer. And every single time, like if you haven't tried this, try it. It actually works like fucking magic. Really gives you a good push for like two or 3 weeks. Just it makes you feel like really, really clearly you can see why you're doing everything that you're doing. And I actually haven't done it in a while, to be fair. I probably haven't needed to, in fairness, because I've had a lot of other things that have been equally as stimulating. But yeah, I mean, I used to do that all the time. I would say I would have done that every 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Down at Porsche, down in the Boucher Road. I would just walk about and looked at the cars and pretend like I was owning them.
Class.
Unreal. Yeah, there's no feeling like driving a supercar.
No.
There really isn't.
If cars are your thing, like, there's
I even
nothing more
think
motivating.
if they're not, you get a non-car person in a Lamborghini and floor it and tell me they're not going to smile.
Not gonna smile. Yeah.
Like, it's hard not to. It's so like exhilarating. It's unparalleled. It's really hard to beat.
I got to take my dad and my mum out in a Lambo in Dubai, and it was class.
How'd they
Because
find
like they would never, I don't think they would ever have experienced anything like that. My dad was able to drive it as well.
Did
Like,
they enjoy it?
yeah. So there he is, slagging me off for paying God knows how much to rent the supercar for a day, and then he puts his foot down and he's like, all right, I understand now, son. Class. Facebook post up and all, him sitting there.
That's class. Rodney.
He loved it. And my mum loved it as well, even though I think I scared the shit out of her whenever I floored it.
But that's part of the fun. Like,
Yeah.
If my mum got in, I would try to scare the shit out of her as
Oh
well.
yeah, I know, absolutely.
brilliant.
It's like, right here, we'll just go to 60. What?
Nice and easy.
160?
In 3 seconds.
Yeah, quality. But even just to be able to like do that, it sounds stupid, but it's a once in a lifetime experience for like people here. So yeah, that was a cool moment, but it also definitely motivated me to be like, right, I don't want this to just be a holiday thing. Like, I want this to be like
an
the
everyday,
daily
this is my
occurrence.
life.
Yeah. And like, mate, just bringing it back, you know, I've had my fair share of people, previous like relationships, friends as well, that will hear me talk about that, or, you know, say, no, like, I don't think you understand, like, I will own a Lambo at some point, or a Ferrari at some point. Doesn't matter if I'm 65 and I buy it with my pension, or whether I'm 30 and I've made it big, it will happen. And they're like, oh, Cam, you need to like wind your neck in a bit, like, be a bit more realistic here.
That's over here, mate. Like, everybody over here, I think they have lower standards, and
Small town mentality.
yeah, and I don't mean that necessarily like a bad thing. It's just obviously in relation to where we want to be, you know, people's expectations of maybe what is achievable, because you don't really see it over here that much. There's probably like 4 supercars that realistically you would see regularly, semi-regularly, in Lisburn and Belfast.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're like literally like 1 in a million.
Yeah.
If you have one. So I do get it, but it's so attainable.
It shouldn't limit you.
No, it definitely shouldn't. My best friend in school, actually, he was one of those guys that was like, I'm going to have one. And he did. He got one like 2 years ago. I remember like turning up and I was like, fair play. Like, you actually did it. And it was unreal.
Yeah, so it's the same as well in bodybuilding, like not just with regards to goal setting and, you know, maybe viewing like monetary goals like cars or house or whatever the hell it is, as maybe being a bit above your reach. It's the same in the bodybuilding community over here. I always find that everyone sets their sights so low. Like, you look at what I did last year, I essentially went, and again, not to blow smoke up my own arse, but I kind of went as far as you can go as a natural. Like, I'm almost looking ahead to my next season going, how the fuck do I beat that? Well, the only way for me to beat it is come top 5 in the Worlds. But anyway, I don't know of too many other people that have actually taken that pathway from Northern Ireland anyway, and Ireland as a whole.
No, there. From what I know, anyway,
There seems to be PCA. Just do PCA, and then it's like you'll do one show and that's it. And I approached it more like a season. You know, right? We'll do these shows. We'll see what comes of it, and then we'll follow it up. Whereas it seems like everyone here that's into, you know, into bodybuilding and has their goal of that set show day or whatever. And I mean, nothing against this, but they just do the show and they're done. You know, it's a one and done, which fair enough if that's your goal. But
yeah, especially if you don't place very well. You know, back to the thing that we said right at the start about the sacrifice. You know, it's going to be very, very taxing to just do it for one day, which is realistically it's going to be a couple of hours of a day. All that for just
to throw your condition away.
Yeah, so it's a lot of hard work for a very, very potentially great reward, but statistically, unless you're coming first, you know, it's not the outcome that nobody goes to come second.
No,
Do you know?
You're stepping on stage to compete against everyone that's in your class, and you know, you don't need to get on like an absolute twat backstage and, you know, not engage with your fellow competitors. That's not what it's about. But everyone knows why they're there. They all want to beat each other. They all want to do the best they possibly can. I think it's important in that situation, if you are a first timer, to just be sound. Like, I remember being the one to turn around and go, right, lads, we've all worked very hard for this. You know, let's fucking seize the moment here. You know, embrace it and get as much as we can out of it. But yeah, like, again, that's not the most important aspect of it. Like I always say, you know, yeah, it's nice having the accolades whenever it comes to competing in bodybuilding and stuff last year, but it's more important to me the journey I was able to take yourself, Jordy, my family on, even everyone on socials, you know, and a lot of the messages I got where, you know, we feel like we were with you for the ride, you know, which I'm not surprised because it was kind of just throwing it in everyone's face.
It's just as well, I want to tell you, that was hard work.
Complaints central.
Complaints central, yeah.
Mr. Negative, but jokes aside, yeah, I don't know what it is. I find that the sights are always set quite low here specifically, and then it does sometimes take you to get out of your natural habitat or your normal surroundings to sort of surround yourself with more like-minded people to realize, oh, actually there's a whole other level that I could be, you know, achieving here or working towards. Like that trip to Dubai that we went on, like I just came back from that extremely motivated.
Yeah, I think like the glass ceiling of here where we're from is ultimately that everybody lives to a certain standard over here for the most part, and there's not too many outliers in too many different fields. And if there are, by nature of being from Northern Ireland, you kind of almost have to downplay it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you're supposed to reach like a certain point and you're just meant to be happy. Like I don't think they would be annoyed at me for saying this. I'm pretty sure I earn more than both my parents have done for a large part of their life. And you know, as a family, we've done well for ourselves. You know, we're certainly not struggling. But am I satisfied with that at 26 years of age? No. Like, do I see? Not just from a sort of, you know, financial aspect. I'm talking achievement wise.
When will you be satisfied with it?
That's a tough question. Because I think, you see, I think one of the things that is most important to me in life is that feeling of freedom that you sort of touched on. You know, you feel like you're not working. You're doing what you love, but as well, obviously having enough money in the background is quite important to that too. Like if you lose your job, right? Let's say all hell breaks loose, you lose your job, having enough there to where it's not like an absolute insane stressor is something that's very important. But as well, something that's really important to me is in the future being able to treat and look after my parents. You know, like the dream is you see those guys paying off their parents' mortgage. Like, I'm very appreciative of everything that they've done for me. And I would never say it to them, and they would probably never expect me to do it, but like I won't rest until I can do something like that, you know.
Well, all they have to do is actually watch this podcast and then they'll know.
Yeah,
so they'll not actually need to be told.
You ever see the video of Guzzo buying his dad that car back in the day?
Yeah, it's class.
Unreal. Like
I remember, we actually talked about this. I remember we both last year bought our mums something like a very high designer wear. Like break the bank money on these things as a really a sign of gratitude and a thank you to, you know, them and like the things that they've done for us. And Dad, if you're listening, you're next.
I've been saying that to mine as well.
But you know, it's such a rewarding feeling, and you know, if you could do that a lot more frequently, like 100%, I would love to. There is a statistic, and I'm going to paraphrase this because I'm going to absolutely hatchet it, but your happiness can directly be affected by money, by income.
Yeah.
Up to, and this is a bit that I'm paraphrasing, up to about £50,000 per year, right? After that, there's been a lot of studies that have kind of looked into this. After that, the amount of additional money on the £50,000, and I actually think it's per household, not per person, the amount of extra additional money that comes in actually drastically has like a diminishing returns effect in terms of its correlation to happiness. So essentially what it's saying is once the necessities are paid, your car, your accommodation, your food, general like going out for dinners and stuff like that, there's not actually this direct correlation to happiness anymore. That's been something that I've been massively, I don't know if it's because I've got older, I'm 30 now, I've started looking at the life that I have through a slightly different lens, not through any purposeful reason, but just actually taking a step back and evaluating where I'm at, where I want to be. I don't know if this is something that all 30-year-olds go through, maybe you've got this ahead of you, but
Probably.
you know, I started looking at, is money as important to me as I always thought it was? And don't get me wrong, I still want a Lambo or a Ferrari. I do. I would love one, but I don't fixate on it, because what I've come to learn is that, and again, this is just what I think. I think that the satisfaction that you seek in life comes from the inputs and your ability to tick off successfully the inputs and let the output take care of itself. Now, don't get me wrong, you can directionally be working towards $1 million and you can adjust, but getting the $1 million is not going to give you satisfaction.
No.
What is on the pathway to the $1 million, on the pathway to the stage, can you look back and be like, I did every single fucking thing that I could have to get to that goal.
Yeah.
You might have missed the goal, but did I give 110%? Did I set out to do something and actually do it? That to me gives you unparalleled amounts of pride, happiness, purpose, and satisfaction in life. And that's something that I've really, really reflected on over the past, especially the past 6 months.
Yeah.
The old saying that, I don't know if you've actually heard this, no, again, paraphrasing, I'm going to butcher this as well, no plan outstands the enemy. So essentially what that means is, no matter how good your plan is, your battle plan, you go to war, you go on the front line, you don't know what the enemy's got planned.
Yeah.
You don't know what's coming. You don't know what's ahead of you. So it's like, you could be planning for 100 grand this year, but you only know what you know now to get to 100 grand. You might know it. You might not know everything that it takes to get to 100 grand in income.
Yeah.
You might not know how to get into the best shape ever. You might know, to get to a certain point. Instead of being fixated on what is the outcome I'm going to get out of this, will it satisfy me? Is it going to be to my standard that I've set? Because that's completely out of your control at the end of the day, because you only know what you know. Rather looking at it from okay, what do I know now that I can directly input regularly over and over and over and over and over again, and obviously you'll learn along the way, so that by the end of the year, or by the end of the period of time, the season that you're in, you're ultimately satisfied that I did every single fucking thing that I can. That to me is purpose and happiness, massively. Yeah. That'll trump, and don't get me wrong, like if I won the lottery and got £1 million in my bank right now, I'd be excited.
You'd be like, happy, man.
I'd be an excited man, but it would be very, very fleeting. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like the shiny object syndrome. You'll get it. You're like, cool, what's next? And this is the problem with money, or like your physique and stuff. I've really, really kind of learned is it's so fleeting. It's so quick. It's here today, gone tomorrow. And I don't mean you spend it. I mean like, unreal, I earned this, or I hit this accolade. What's the next one? What's the next one? What's the next one? And you, back to what you were saying about not being present, you very, very quickly don't become grateful of any of these things that you've really, really highlighted as big, big goals for yourself. So yeah, it's just a matter of, obviously everyone's different, but for me, I think the love and the joy comes from the work, not from the output. The output is just a byproduct that is, to a degree, something that you can't always control.
Well, I mean, yeah, it comes back to, if you want to feel fulfilled, right? What's going to fulfill you? The work or the money? It's probably going to be the work.
Because, 100%.
Which again, brings it back to if you're maybe find yourself doing something that couldn't really give a toss about, you might maybe want to try and make a change if you can.
Yeah, because in that
That's realistic.
circumstance, you might not have the money or the love of work. So in that case, you're kind of stuck
Yeah.
between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, and then in that case, I don't blame you for going out and popping bottles at the weekend and enjoying some substances. But yeah, man, no, exactly what you've just described there is something that, it's funny. It feels like we're all sort of, me and you anyway, we're kind of cut from the same cloth in that aspect, because with my physique, even, I only competed and was winning shows 5-6 months ago, and I'm already sitting going, right, but when's the next time I do it? I haven't really actually sat back and thought about those times yet. I probably never will now. I've lived through those moments, and it's now on to the next thing. But it's the same.
The thing that is now with you, those moments have been and gone. They're never coming back. You've got the medals, the trophies, whatever. Cool. But what stays with you even right now is the lessons and the character building that you basically accumulated throughout that whole process. Those will be applicable to everything you do in life going forward. Now, they'll never go.
Yeah.
Like, once they're in, they're in. So I think like that's a big one. It's just like taking the wins of, not everything needs to have like a net reward at the end of it. But as long as you're learning and you're improving, like, that's priceless, because once you learn something, it's only going to be...
Your value goes up.
Yeah, massive. It's only going to benefit you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, I think it's the same with career and all of that as well. Like, I have 2 degrees, and I remember finishing the first one and being like, all right, what's next? And then stupidly decided to do a second one. Not that I regret doing a master's, but it was kind of just like, right, well, I need another one. I've got one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you sort of trust in the fact that there's going to be this feeling of, I've made it, or this feeling of, right, now I've got this, now I can go and earn the big bucks or whatever it is.
You're just collecting them like fucking Pokemon cards.
Yeah, exactly. Panini stickers. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a big driver for me in everything that I do as well. Yeah, I do try and, bringing it back to remaining present, being present. I've tried to implement that not just in my bodybuilding or athlete processes, but also just in life. Take each day as it comes, rather than, all right, it's the start of another week, I suppose I'll look forward to Friday then, to get off at the weekend. If you're working a 9 to 5, maybe that's the position that you're always finding yourself in. Yeah, I've just always tried to take each day as it comes and focus on what's next, what's going to help me make sure that I keep moving forward and keep developing as a person. Because I don't do it often, but when you look back, where you were 10 years ago, just fuck me, like,
stark difference.
You wouldn't have seen me on a podcast like this. You wouldn't have seen me in front of 10 people.
You'd have been 2 monsters deep, a pack of hobnobs in the 2 a.m. session on COD.
Absolutely, man. Mate, I was one of them people that would have pulled a sickie whenever
a new COD came out or something.
Well, yeah, the new COD, but also, all right, Cam, it's your turn to read out an assembly next week. Is it I? Well, I heard I'm actually sick next Tuesday, miss. That was me. I wasn't a people person, extremely shy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like, developing your character, developing yourself. Yeah, like, I think it is satisfying to look back. You're probably the same, but I just do it often.
There's no bigger reward looking back through my life than the times where I've spent learning a new skill or just trying to develop myself in some way, shape or form. It doesn't need to be big leaps and bounds, just something. Like, no greater compounding on who I am now as a person has, like, the biggest probably trait or quality that I am glad that I was gifted with is the desire. And that's all it is. It's just a desire, because I think we're all, more or less born relatively with the same opportunities within reason if you're born in like the Western society. I have that desire to just be better. Yeah. And I think you're very, very similar in that sense. brother from another mother.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very, very grateful that I have been bestowed that trait as well, because I don't think everybody is that way. You know, like I still have people looking at me going, how do you have so much time in the day to be able to do what you're doing? I don't know. I just kind of make it work. Do you know what I mean? If you want something bad enough,
Prioritize it.
Yeah, you prioritize it. And if you don't want it bad enough, well then
Don't.
don't waste your time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One to finish.
Okay.
What's your 10 exercises that you would pick if
The 10 exercises.
you can't have any other exercises, just 10 for the rest of your life to build the dream physique, to maintain the dream physique? What would you pick?
Right. Okay. And
Now you have to cover everything
my dream physique is probably a bit different to yours.
Okay.
So you'll have to do your own version of this.
Okay.
If I'm talking about this from the aspect of a competitive bodybuilder, we're talking a side lateral raise, 100% for the side delts.
Okay.
Nothing hits them quite like it. We're definitely talking some form of overhead press. We'll go with dumbbells just for handiness.
Okay.
We'll go with a low incline dumbbell press for the chest.
You not doing a flat?
Number 3. No, low.
No flat?
No flat. We'll see if a fly makes it in at the end here. That's number 3. Number 4, we're going with a squat variation. We'll say a barbell squat. Pretty straightforward. I don't think you can go without a squat. The same for a deadlift. Number 5, you need to have a deadlift in there.
Which variation of a deadlift would you go for? Conventional, stiff-legged, Romanian?
I'm going to go with the stiff
Okay.
because my posterior chain is gack. So it's either an RDL or a stiff, and I'm going to go with a stiff. Another one for me, the lats. So we're talking a lat pull down here. Single arm lat pull down. So we'll need a cable stack for that. That's number 6. Now we're on to...
You have to almost visualize the body and break it down. I'm like, what am I hitting on each one?
Yeah, so that's number 6. We've got 4 left, right?
You haven't had arms yet?
No, that's a biggie. So we're going with a bicep curl, we're going with a preacher curl, and we're also going for a tricep extension. That's us with 2 exercises remaining.
You going for a rope tricep extension?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wide grip rope finishing at the hips. So we've got 2 remaining, right? Now,
You haven't isolated too much in your calves yet?
Yep.
You
I was
haven't
about to
you
cover,
haven't had
about
abs
to
yet?
cover this. I've been blessed with quite good calves, so we could probably skip them, but I'm not going to.
Cardinal sin.
No, I'm not going to. So yeah, we're talking a calf raise. Now, abs. Let me see. I don't think the abs make it in, mate. I think we're already hitting the abs with the deadlift and the squat to some extent, bracing your core. I think number 10, we're going to have to go for a seated ham. Because yeah, we're hitting that in the stiff leg, but you can always do with more hamstring.
So that's it. And that's your dream exercises for the rest of your life. You're going to look juicy after these.
I'm going to take that seated ham out because I've forgotten a key one with no row. So we're going for a bent over barbell row. So yeah, the hamstrings are sacked. Yeah, bent over barbell row.
Right, okay. All right, interesting.
I tried to keep things quite
Conventional.
basic there though, because I was just visualizing me in a garage in the zombie apocalypse and heavy shit about.
Fair. For me,
yourself.
interesting. So for me, my exercises are not going to be so much from a bodybuilding standpoint, more so just the exercises that I really enjoy. So, right, we're going to start with, I do quite like a stiff-legged deadlift. I'm very much enjoying those. So we'll start with that. It's getting a lot of muscle groups hit straight away. Probably probably a leg press
Yeah.
over a squat. I'm just thinking when I'm older, I know squats may be a better option. When I'm older, my back starts going, at least I've got that back support, and I'm already doing stiffs at that stage, so like, don't want scoliosis. Number 3 is going to be calf raises, because I can't be having big quads and no calves. Like, we need to be working those calves.
You do calves a lot as is.
Yeah, they need it. Number 4, I think I'll follow suit, side lateral raise, cuffed lying down on a cable.
Okay.
Favorite variation of that's very, very comfortable. Really, really feel it. Then we'll go high incline Smith machine barbell press for the upper chest, shoulders. What have I not touched on? Back as much. Neutral grip lat pull down.
Okay.
Really, really like that. Get a good connection with the lats on that.
Solid.
A plate loaded chest supported row for like a mid back row. Really,
that's actually a differential. You wouldn't hear too many people talking about that.
really, really like it. Incline dumbbell curls.
Okay.
No, actually, I'm going to change that. Preacher curl.
Yeah.
I think it's a much better choice. Yeah. For triceps, I'm going to go cable skull crushers. Get them in the length position, hit the long head. Really, really rate that exercise so much. And then finally, what have I not hit? Haven't built that bunda. Haven't done hip thrusts. Shoulders, chest.
Have you got any row variation?
I've got lat pull down, chest supported row.
Yeah, you have the chest supported row. Your back's probably covered.
Probably go for my final one would be. This is a hard. Like, you really have to dial it in. Probably a cable fly. No, a pec deck. So, yes, a variation of a fly, basically. That would be, in terms of like just personal preference, just love those exercises.
Yeah.
That's what I would pick. Yeah.
Do enjoy the pec deck, but I always view it as more like a pre-activation thing. Like, I'll go in and slam it before I go and do my dumbbell press, you know.
You feel it so good though. It's really, really good exercise. But then again, like, zombie apocalypse comes. Like,
you're gonna need some setup there, big man.
I'm fucked. I'm gonna need a commercial gym.
Where are you taking shelter in a fucking prime facility?
Yeah, pretty much. The best of the best.
Just in the Nautilus factory there.
Yeah. But mate, like, do you know what? This has been solid podcast. Very, very, very good. It's good as well to pick your brain, obviously, about, you know, competitive bodybuilding, and for somebody that hasn't done it, and I think you've got some good insights there. So yeah, we'll finish with a wee nightcap.
Well,
and yeah, man, cheers for coming on.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So if you've enjoyed the podcast and you're listening on Apple Music or Spotify, please give us a follow. It helps us out a lot. If you're on YouTube, hit the big subscribe button, hit like. Not sure what it does, but I think it might just help us out. Keep in tune for any future episodes coming out. We're here weekly. It's been a pleasure, Cameron. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Cheers.
And we'll see you in the next one.